Hey everyone, Mr. Newman here, and what we're going to do today is go over a practice quiz for you guys because we'll be taking this very soon. So, let's get started. First of all, notice there are a lot of problems that go along with number 1 here. Well, they're all multiple choice and the explanations are short, so it really is like a normal sized problem, but you got to make sure you include the explaining why, otherwise you won't get any credit for it. So, let me show you what some proper explanations look like. First off, when you're doing this, please circle the correct response. We're asking, is this a polynomial or not? And the answer is yes, this first one, I, is a polynomial because all exponents are whole numbers. Notice 3, 4, 5, and p to the 1. Those are all whole numbers. Remember, whole numbers are positive integers. Then it is a polynomial. Number 2, it is not a polynomial because a to the negative 4th has a negative exponent. You can't have negative exponents in polynomials. And lastly, notice there are 2 reasons this the number 3, or the I, is not a polynomial. First off, it has a 1/2, a fractional exponent. And secondly, it also has a variable in the denominator. Both those are big no-nos for polynomials. So, here we're going to classify the polynomials and be as specific as possible with degree and classification. We're going to have to write down the number of terms and the degree so that you can then find which of those is correct. Fortunately, I do make this multiple choice on the quiz, so you'll have the words here in front of you. You just have to remember what means what. So, binomial means 2 terms, monomial means 1 term, and there are 2 terms here. So this is not C. It can't be B, a monomial. It has to be A, C, or D. We also know it's second degree because it's h to the second power. And so it's got to be a quadratic. Quadratic binomial is the correct answer. For the next one, V, notice that's the 3rd degree because it's 7k to the 3rd power. That's called cubic. And there are 3 terms. Well, there's only 1 cubic option, so if you even know that, you're good to go for this one. But it's a cubic trinomial because 3 terms is a trinomial. And for VI, which of the following is the leading coefficient? As long as it's written in standard form, meaning the highest power is first, which this one is, then the leading coefficient is the coefficient on that first term. So leading coefficient is 5. Be careful, I might put in a trick question and say 5x to the 4th. The coefficient is just the number in front, so the answer is 5. All right, moving on to number 2. We want to simplify each of these. And to simplify these, we're just adding the first one, then subtracting them. We're really just combining like terms. So for the first one, I'm going to underline the similar or like terms. 8v cubed minus v cubed. That's going to be 7v cubed. Then the next 2 combined add up to negative 8v squared. And those last 2 combined are 10vw. Now, it says write your answer in standard form. That means the highest power goes first, and we've done that. V to the 3rd, v squared, and then v to the 1st. There is a second variable there, w, but you do not need to worry about that on this quiz. All right, for the next one, the trick is that we're subtracting. And so for that, what we need to do is we need to distribute a -1 to all 3 of those on the right. So let's do that first before we combine like terms. Otherwise, we make the mistake of only subtracting the 7. It is -1 times 7 is -7. That's one we all remember. But -1 times 6c is -6c. And -1 times -2c is +2c. So make sure that sign switches to the opposite. Now we can combine like terms. I see c squared, so 4 minus 6 is -2c squared. The c's, -5 and +2 becomes -3c. Then -1 and -7 becomes minus or -8. There is our final answer for the second part. For this third one, this is kind of the challenge problem. First, we have to distribute and then combine like terms. So let's distribute the 3 first. 3x squared plus 9x plus 3. And then we just combine like terms. So don't forget the 4x. We have to combine the x's here. And we get 3x squared plus 13x plus 3. So that's it for quiz 17. The next part of the video, we're going to do quiz 18 here. And what I'll do on the quiz, make sure you get this side correct before you move on to the next one. So for each of these, we're going to simplify the polynomials, and these are all multiplication problems. Be careful, what kind of multiplication problem we're dealing with. So for example, this first one, we're just multiplying a monomial by a monomial. We don't need a box, and we really just need to know our power rules. Well, I'm going to write this out, expand out the n to the fourth, so it's 3m n is how you write that. And the next one is -2 times -2 mm, and then 3 n's, n. As long as you write it out and count carefully, you'll get these correct. So let's multiply the coefficients. 3 times -2 is -6. How many m's are there? 1, 2, 3. So that's m to the third power. How many n's are there? There are 7, so that's n to the seventh power. And you don't need to memorize any rules, you just need to recognize that we're just multiplying two monomials together. So -6 m to the third, n to the seventh is the answer. For the next one, we are multiplying two binomials together. You could distribute this, but you'd have to be careful because you'd have to distribute it twice. Instead, I like, when I have two binomials I'm multiplying together, or anything larger than that, I like using the box method or window pane method. So 3x minus 2, I'm going to put 3x and minus 2, or -2 there. And x plus 3, I'm going to put x and 3 on the top. Now let's multiply them together. We get 3x squared, 9x, -2x, and -6. I need to add all these terms together. So let's add, notice the like terms are 9x and -2x, so we're going to combine like terms there. So we get 3x squared plus 7x, that's 9x plus -2x is 7x, and then -6. There's our answer. For the next one, this is the most common mistake people make, where they know how to do this, but they try to shortcut themselves. When you square something, that means multiplying whatever it is that's squared is multiplying it by itself. So please, please, please write this out like this, otherwise you will forget how to do this kind of problem. X minus 5 squared is x minus 5 times x minus 5. Now we recognize it as a number where we need to multiply it with the box. So let's multiply it out. X minus 5 and x minus 5. X times x is x squared. -5 times x is -5x. -5x again. And -5 times -5 is +25. We get x squared minus 10x plus 25 is our answer, once you combine the like terms. All right. Here we have a binomial times a trinomial, so I'm going to make this kind of box. You could make it 2 by 3 or 3 by 2, whichever way it's turned is fine, as long as you put the x and the 3 on the 2 side, and then the other three terms, x squared, -4x, and 2 on the other side. Now we just multiply these out. So x times x squared is x cubed, -4x squared, 2x, 3x squared, -12x, and 6. Now notice the pattern here. When you combine like terms, these are the ones that get combined. You guys see that pattern? That will almost always happen as long as you start off writing these in standard form. So let's combine those and then combine the green ones. And so we get x cubed plus -x squared, that's -4 plus 3 is -1x, or just -x, plus -12 and +2 becomes -10x, and plus 6. You could, instead of writing plus negative, you could just write minus, and that would also be correct. But there is our final answer. All right, last problem. This is just a shade trickier. It's kind of like the 17.1 tricky problem. But notice I've got to multiply two binomials, so I'm going to have to multiply using a box, and we're going to add on or subtract out that -5x at the very end there, so we need to not forget that. So we do our box, we get 6x squared, 12x, -2x, and -4. When we combine like terms, we get 6x squared plus 10x minus 4. But don't stop there, because you need to look back at the original problem. We almost forgot the -5x, and he's over there saying, don't forget me. So we need to include him down there. That is one of the most common problems after you draw the box to then say, hey, I'm done with the problem, because we've been done with the problem so often before this. So include the negative 5x at the very end, and now we notice we need to combine like terms again. When you combine those like terms, you get 6x squared plus 5x minus 4, and that is our final answer. Thank you for watching.